What's up, family? It's your girl, Dr. Shonna, and I'm here today to give you guys some more updates and to explain to you all why I had to delete the videos that were up about the situation. One thing I will say is I had to make a hard decision about deleting my videos. And although I didn't say anything wrong, I didn't say anything offensive or anything like that, I had to delete the videos. As I've been directed to do so by my attorney. And I will explain that for you guys so we can really understand what we are up against. And I say we because, what happens to you happens to me. And what happens to me happens to you. So when I say we, I'm really talking about all of us, not just me in particular. So I want to be smart about how I have this conversation, but also honest about how I have this conversation. And y'all already know how we do as a community. So y'all just going to have to listen. You know what I mean? Y'all going to have to listen and just tune in. And then, what I put down, pick up. What you can eat, take. What you can't, don't make any assumptions. Because when you are represented, there's things that you can and cannot say for some really obvious reasons. And I'm learning a lot through this process. I'm learning a whole bunch about this process, but it's things that we already know, family, as a community. There are things that we know in theory. There's things that we talk about all the time. There's things that we try to make sense of things. We debate about. We have great conversations about a lot of these things. But when you are in the thick of it, when you are the subject of it all, everything doesn't always come into place immediately in terms of what we know and then what we're experiencing. Because when you're experiencing something, your emotions are involved. I'm human, you're human, we have emotions. When you are experiencing something, your emotions are involved. So you start to, well, at least I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to say, I'm going to speak for myself. When my emotions are involved, it can alter the way I see things, right? It can mix up my lens. It can make things appear to be that may not be, or I know is there, but I'm not watching my steps, if that makes sense. So let's get into this. Y'all know why I deleted the videos. I already answered that. How is my son doing? I hear a lot of people have been texting me, inboxing me, reaching out to me. How is my son doing? Let me start there. First and foremost, to the sister here in Rochester, New York. I don't know if you want me to say your name or not, so I'll keep that private. If you want to disclose who you are, go ahead and feel free to do it in the chat. But to the sister here in Rochester, New York, when I tell you that we have a strong community for those of us who are like-minded, for those of us who want to see us do better, for those of us that really mean when we say we love each other and we got each other's back, for those of us, it shows up and it's clear. It is not because of who I am, it's because of who we are as a community. So the sister in Rochester, I'm going to keep your name private unless you give it permission. If you say it, then say it, and I will shout you out. But you know who you are. I want to say to her, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you taught me a major lesson. And you don't know that you taught me a major lesson because you was just sharing information. You was just helping me to navigate the medical system. That's all you was really helping me to do. But your navigation had so many gems in it, and you don't even realize it. You don't even realize how many gems that your navigation had. This sister told me to go to a particular place to get medical treatment for my son. We found out that his wound is infected. It's been oozing out all over the place. So with that being said, this sister told me where to go, the kind of care I was going to get. This place was phenomenal. I don't even know why that place didn't have more people sitting in it than what was there. They took us in, they took us out. They gave us the medication to treat the infection. This sister here, if I don't know. This sister talked to me about different people to not contact, who to contact. She may not have known much. She don't even have children my children's age, but she knew a lot. And she doesn't even realize how much she knew because I followed her instructions to a T to navigate her land. This is her space. This is her turf. And when I tell you, I learned something. I learned something that I already knew, but theory and practice are two different things. This woman told me about her turf. And I needed that. I needed that. And today my son is still in a lot of pain. Still in a lot of pain. It's really hard to see. Let me talk about this real quick. So I say how he's doing. Fellas, maybe some of y'all can agree with me, and women, maybe some of y'all can agree with me too. Whoever can, just sit still for a little bit while I talk to those who it resonates with. It is so hard as a mother. Watch your son go through an array of emotions. See, for a lot of fellas, and I'm pretty sure women probably go through this too, but for a lot of fellas, when their ego and their pride is impacted, they go through an array of emotions. And for a mom or a parent to watch their children go through something and you can't do nothing about it. You can't do nothing about it but offer them support and just watch them try to hold back their tears, but you know that they want to cry, but they have like this, I gotta be strong type of mentality. Just to watch somebody go through that and just to watch how much their emotions are up and down. 1 minute they rocking, next minute they snapping at you, right? But not in a disrespectful way. It's just that they're so angry that they express themselves with such vigor, right? So much animosity, so much anger. And I have to remember that, but I'm still a mom. I still have to step back and say, I got your back. I'm not your enemy. For him to really say, I know, Mom, I'm sorry, I'm just angry. For him to really start to express those emotions. So when they say to me, how's your son doing? He's doing bad. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. He's doing bad. The scar at the bottom, it looks like it's going to be a nice heel. It's going to be scarred, but it looks like it's going to be a nice heel. But that messiness up here, he's doing bad. He's doing bad. Every now and then he gets his little jokes. We start laughing. Today we took him out for his birthday. It's the first day that he wanted to step out. His birthday just passed, y'all. His birthday was on the 4th. He just made 20. We took him out for his birthday. This is the first day he was okay with going in public. He hasn't left the home. He hasn't done anything. And I was proud of him because even though he makes fun about looking like a humpback of Notre Dame down, he makes fun looking like a cyclops. He makes fun of his appearance because the appearance is really bad. But the fact that he showed up and he went out, despite us sitting at the table and people are going to look because it's shocking and they're staring at him. And even though they're trying to take their order for the food, it's kind of hard to ignore somebody's eyes that don't look open and somebody's head that's lumped, somebody's stitches. It's hard to ignore what we're seeing. To me, he's still my baby. I love him. No matter what, to me, he's still gorgeous. You know, I say, girls like the pretty boys with scars. You still gonna be good, like my cousin said. She said, tell him I said, girls like the pretty boys with scars. He's still gonna be even more sexier. We just keep his spirits high. Man, it's hard. So I really do think that it was stand up for him to go out in public and show that face. That's just like back in the days, y'all. Remember $1.50? You get somebody $1.50, they got to wear that scar across their face for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? And eventually you get tired of answering people's questions when people say, how'd you get that scar? You know what I mean? I just want y'all to know that. Somebody said, how bad is the scar? The scar is still healing. It's still a wound. I wouldn't even say a scar just yet. It's still a wound. But the wound is big. And now the wound is infected. It's infected, it's big, it's pouring out pus. It was a deep injury. It was a very deep injury. So it's gonna take some time to heal. So it looks bad. The injury looks bad. Okay, it looks very bad. Let me say what I'm learning. Let me go on to that. So thank you for everybody who's asking me how he's doing, and thank you for everyone who's saying happy belated birthday to my Aries. If y'all only know about Aries, oh God, like this is a humbling experience. But let me just say this, y'all. You know how we talk about the system, right? Y'all know the system. Y'all know how we talk about the system, and we say how the system is well oiled and the system works on its own. Woo, child. Like, I think that we all experience the system in one form or another. We all have experienced the system, and we all know about the system. And sometimes some of us, we become so used to how the system operates that we don't even realize how deep the system really is. We just learn how to navigate and live in the system. But can I tell you, the system is well oiled. And I am learning that. I'm learning that the system, y'all gonna have to just understand what I'm talking about, y'all. Y'all gonna have to use our community language. You know what I mean? To understand what I'm talking about. But when I tell you the system is so well oiled, they know it. And they will look you in your face with no empathy, no care, no concern, apathetic, standoffish, stoic, nonchalant. The system is nasty. So what I'm learning is there are many ways to combat the system. I was feeling so defeated, family. I came back and I'm sitting in the bed and I'm saying to Officer Stedman, I'm like, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. Like how do you operate this system? Like this crazy. And it also goes to, deleting of the videos. I said, I gotta play the game like how they play the game. Because many of us have a tendency to play the game how we know, how we think we have to play the game. My mother used to always say to me when I was younger, you know what, you know how you get them to listen to you? Act crazy. And when you act crazy, they'll straighten up. I understand the advice my mother was trying to say when I was younger. Y'all, don't do that. I'm telling you straight up. Don't do that. I know it's like our nature, right? We want to show them just how crazy we are. We want to show them that. We want to get in there. We want to sit down and be stern, and we want to tell them. We want to let them know, and we want to, have some bravado. We want to let them know I'm not the one. You ain't gonna keep doing this. You ain't gonna do this to us. That's how we go into many situations. You ain't gonna do this to us. Oh no. You will do that. We will do this and we'll do that. And before you know it, we're gonna have people flood this campus. But right? Because that's how we know to fight. You understand what I'm saying? I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down. That's how we know how to fight. But boy, there are levels. I mean, we already know this, but when you are in the thick of it, you know it at a different level. There are levels to this system. And there are things that's going to work, and there are things that are not going to work with the system. Do you understand? Because the system don't care. And I'm going to tell you why the system don't care. The system don't care because we are not a threat to the system. That machine works, baby. We are a threat to each other. Y'all hear what I'm saying? We are a threat to each other. We are not a threat to the system, and they know this. And because they know this, they speak in such ways that are arrogant, cocky, non-accountability. We already know this. To get anybody to be accountable, that is like, it ain't going to happen. So you got to understand that in order for you to work the system, you have to know how to beat the system. What are some of the ways, family, that you think will help in beating the system, will help in winning their game? We can't go into this situation playing checkers on a chessboard. And y'all know I say this all the time. We can't, we say this and we talk about it, but when you're actually going through it, baby, you got to step back. You got to step back because the system expects us to operate in a certain way. The system expects us to operate in a certain way. I don't know how to pronounce your first name, but I'm glad you said that, right? This person here says, but the system is all over the place and it's very confusing. How do you think I felt today? How do you think I felt today? See, it's confusing because we don't understand it. That's what it is. It's confusing because we don't understand it. And sometimes we listen to people who also don't understand it. A lot of us, we can talk a good talk, we can walk a good walk, but when we in that fight, we don't know what to do. And we start getting beat up by the system. And then what do? We resort to marching. We resort to protesting. We resort to yelling, screaming, fighting. That stuff don't work for the system. They expect us to operate like that. They expect us to yell, scream. They're ready for us to show up. And when I told y'all today at the beginning of the video, I said the sister who was helping me to navigate the medical system here in Rochester, that sister don't know. She taught me a lesson and she has no idea she was doing it. She was just helping me. She was just helping me. But she taught me a lesson that she didn't realize that she did. You see, what do they expect from us? They're already thinking about who we are 5 to 10 stops ahead of us. They already know. They know who we are. They know how we operate. They know how we show up. They know who we are. But when you show up in a way that they're not accustomed to, that they can't read, they get nervous. I saw that today. They get nervous because to them, our community is not a threat because they already know how our community acts. But when you act differently, they do expect that, Barbara. Give me a second, y'all. I'm going to talk about Barbara. Barbara said what they don't expect is for you to boycott. They do. That's why it never works. See, Barbara, beloved, I was there too. I thought and said the same thing too. But that's what they expect. And because, see, Barbara, if you expect something, if you already thought it out, if you already thought it through, if you already studied it, if you watched it over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years and more, if you already watched it and you see how it operates, you know how to handle it. Barbara, let me ask you a question, beautiful. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time we had a successful boycott? I want y'all to think about that. When was the last time we had a successful boycott? Right? Right? I want you to think, but I'm quiet because I want to see what you're going to say. Right? Right? The 60s, Montgomery, Reebok shoes. Right? But I'm glad this person said this, right? Everybody else, you guys are correct. And I'm not saying that this person here is not correct, but I'm putting it up here for a reason. Reebok shoes. So now I'm going to challenge you. Did it work? Did it really work? Is Reebok out of business? Is Reebok out of business? Did it really work? Just think about it for a second, right? Just think about it for a second. Is it out of business? Is Reebok out of business? Do we know that everything that Reebok owns? Do we know what's Reebok and what's not? Right. So everyone's saying no, no. See, somebody said they never worked, right? No, it didn't work. You understand what I'm trying to say? They expect that. We can't go into any situation like this, remotely close to this. We can't go into any situation like that with that mindset. Boycott. I understand why we say it. I understand it. But how much that is with strategy, right? See, so everyone says Montgomery bust, the 60s. That was with strategy. Let me ask y'all another question. How organized we are today? How strategic are we today collectively? I'm not saying little pockets of situation. I'm talking about collectively when there's a movement among state to state to state to state to state. Right? Somebody said not at all. So what I learned today is we're not a threat to the system. They studied us. They look at us as a threat to each other. So they would have dismissed of us. They're going to dismiss of us. They're going to look at everything like that's a you problem, not my problem. Sounds like a you problem, not my problem. Oh, yeah, well, I don't know. Sounds like you, not me. And we get upset and we get angry. And the reason why the system works that way is because the people, and I'm not saying our community in and of itself, I'm saying the people, we as a people, no matter who you are, we are complacent to the system. That's what I'm learning. I already knew this. But we are complacent to the system. All of us are. We can all know about something and choose not to do something for various reasons. We can all know about something and choose not to say something for various reasons. That's a beautiful thing for the system. That's a beautiful thing for, see, the people who know are afraid of telling you how to navigate the ground or the turf or the territory, because with the system there comes consequences. See, it's bigger than that, brother or sister. I don't know what this person is. Don't want to have any disrespect, but it's bigger than that. This person said, I feel like the system wants certain people, I guess, wants certain people in different kinds of communities to purge. It's bigger than that. Trust me when I say it. See, I think there's some people who talk about that because it's just one way of thinking, but it's not the grand scale of things. Babe, can you turn off this light for me, please? It's not it's that's small. That's small. And perhaps I don't know how to explain it, right? But I need y'all to really hear me when I say that's a small way of thinking. Is that and I don't mean this toward the person who said it. I'm just saying in general. That's an emotional response. That's an emotional response, right? Because yes, I understand where you're coming from, right? I understand where you're coming from. I'm saying that's a small emotional response because it's way bigger than that. The people as a collective, regardless of the community you're in, the people as a collective is complacent because there's only a small number of people that run the system. There's only a small number of people that tune up the system to make sure it keeps working. Only a small number of people. Let me give you an example of what I mean. So last night we went to go, because I told you my son was avoiding going out because everything, not only the pain, but just how he looks and stuff, right? But last night we went to go pick up some food for him to eat. Just hear me out for a second. We went to go pick up some food for him to eat. And I already told you about the city of Rochester, and just like, I understand why the city of Rochester has a higher murder rate. Like, I understand it. I don't need to be any type of expert in urban development for me to understand. I know why. But we were paying attention to how many patrol cars we see. And it's funny because the sister that helped me out today with navigating the territory here, the sister said, when you said last night, when you talked about, just watching, just going to from one area to another, just seeing how they patrol. You said, I thought about it. I said, do I even see any patrol around? And she said, and I don't. And it was crazy. I didn't even really think about that till you said it. And I live here. Right? So we went out last night. And we were in a Walmart getting acetaminophen and other stuff, right? So we were in Walmart, and there was long lines and only but so many registers open. So I said to a worker that works there, do you guys not have self-checkout? I really need to get in and out. And she said, she started laughing. She said, self-checkout here? No offense, but the people here, no self-checkout here. They ghetto. No self-checkout here, baby. No, you got to go through those other areas, the white areas. You can get checkout there, but you're not going to get that here. No, baby, not here. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I'm sitting there, and I seen one police officer in Walmart. Then I see another police officer in Walmart. And they were lily-gaggling, talking. Eventually, they got together, and they were sitting in the front talking to each other. That's what they do. And so I said, you see that, babe? He was like, yeah. And I said, we don't see none of their bonds outside, but they in Walmart. I said, hey, what the system is telling us? What is the system telling us about that? What is the system telling? They are in Walmart, but they're not outside. So I go up to one of the police officers, and I said, seeing police officers in Walmart is very interesting. What's going on with that? What's up with that? And he said, this Walmart is very interesting. I said, Walmart. He said, yeah. Keeps us on our toes. It's always something. He was like, this Walmart is interesting. And I said, oh, okay. I said, it's very interesting because I don't really even see you guys outside in the community, but you're in Walmart. But what does the system tell you about that? No, the system don't tell you that they were in fear of their lives. I need y'all to think bigger than that. There you go. There you go. There you go. They care more about the profit than the people. That's the bottom line. And it hit me. When I saw that last night, I said, babe, I got to go about this differently. I got to move about this differently. And it clicked. It was like real fast, clicked real fast. They care more about the profits than the people. So I started to engage these police officers. You know how we do. I let them know, oh, he's on the force. We told them the force and everything. And, how many years, veteran, We talk about all that. And, they start talking. They start to loosen up a little bit. They start to talk to us. And they like laughing. They told us about some people they know. I knew some people that they knew. And we was all talking. They were like, it was like, my man brought up, what's that thing called, baby? The blotter. What is that called? Spotter. What is it called?
Shot spotter.
Shot spotter? Yeah. What is that again? The way they know where the shots are fired at?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so they were talking about him and the cops were talking about shot spotter. And what shot spotter is, for those of you guys who don't know, is when there's a shooting, it pinpoints where it's at so they can know where to respond to. Boom, just like that quick. These officers told us that the city's getting rid of them. The city is getting rid of them. Did y'all hear me? The city is getting rid of the shot spotters. Not adding more, getting rid of them. I mean, we had a whole deeper conversation about that, but that's got to tell you something. That's got to tell you something. These cops are protecting Walmart. Unbelievable. So I noticed that. I said the people are complacent. And as long as you're complacent, as long as you don't really understand what's happening here, as long as your mind keeps getting occupied with emotional stuff that is meant to keep you angry, to keep you upset, and to tell you, see, this is what the system does. The system tells you this is your enemy. This is your enemy, and you believe them. Because not only do they verbally tell you this is your enemy, they use images, propaganda, and everything else to feed you constantly, identifying this as the enemy. Then you learn to hate this, to be fear of this, to be scared of this. You don't want this because they told you this is the enemy. And once you believe that this is the enemy, even though this thing, ideally, nothing is perfect. There's exceptions to everything. But this thing here is supposed to protect you. But when they tell you that this is the enemy, they're able to start removing things from your community, removing things from you that is associated with the enemy, and you don't recognize it. You start to think that it's a good thing. Is a good thing. And then you start complaining about the crime. You start complaining about the injustice. You start complaining about everything, but you already asked for it to be removed. Let me put this to you guys in a different perspective, because I got to be mindful of what I'm talking about here, y'all. Because my attorney told me. Y'all, I'm going to listen. because I'm playing chess, not checkers, right? I'm going to put it to you like this. Do I agree that we need to have some type of reform? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I agree that people who should not have been incarcerated were incarcerated, and that is unjust? I believe that. Yes, I do. Do I believe that petty crimes do not require long sentences? I do believe that. Do I believe that rehabilitation is something that should happen? I believe that. I believe that. But I'm smart about that stuff. When you ask for something, when you ask, the universe is very clear about how the universe operates. I don't care what fashion of life you live in. The universe controls a lot of things and how it naturally happens through order. If you ask for something, you have to give up something. I'm not going to get too deep in this, right? But I know a lot of y'all are metaphysical. I know a lot of y'all get what I'm saying. If you ask for something, you have to be able to give something. You're asking for this reform. That's cool. What are you giving? What did we give up? Where you can see police officers in Walmart, but not on the street. What did you give up? When you become the victim of a violent, heinous crime, and your perpetrator, your offender, goes home at night and goes to sleep and eats dinner with their family, and it takes 3 to 5 years for him to even be brought to justice, and when he gets there, it's so far gone that he gets no time. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? Do you know how it feels when you sit down, and I'm not necessarily talking about me, I'm just saying in general. In general, this is applicable to many people. I'm just saying. Do you know how it feels to be prepped that your attacker may not get anything? Now, I'm not saying this applies to me. I'm just saying in general, because I'm talking on behalf of a lot of people that are facing this. Do you know what that feels like? Will you know that, yeah, it might not work out? It might not work out. How does that feel for you? Let me paint the picture. You're brutally beaten and raped. I'm just trying to paint a picture for you. You're brutally beaten and raped. There are no witnesses, no video, just your word against somebody who is not a repeat offender, who is not on a 3-strike rule, right? Just your word against them. You know, that person is saying one thing, you're saying something else. They know you had trauma. They really are trying it, but they're missing some serious pieces here to be able to take immediate action. They're missing some pieces here. They got to pull this stuff all together. And then they tell you, we got to find something that would stick. At the very minimum, it's a misdemeanor. At the very minimum, it's a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor. And depending on the person's criminal history, it may not come with any time. That's not what we're shooting for, but I want to just be realistic here. With the whole reform thing and how things are operating now, how things are happening, that might just happen. Judges are being put in a really difficult and tough spot because the people do not want X, Y, and Z because the people fear the enemy. The enemy that they have been told is the enemy. This is what they have been told. It is the enemy. This is the enemy. So now they give the people what they want. In some cases, I totally understand it. But until you go through it, you have no idea how that sucker's going to hit you. When you ask the universe for something, it has to give us something. So I am not saying you shouldn't ask. A1 recording, you got to go back and just watch the video, A1. See, I'm being nice today. I already said that. I was going to be nice for 2024. I said I was going to be nice for 2024. I did. All right, Abram, I'll give you a 10 seconds of fame. 10 seconds of fame. Whoop, 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 whoop. How you feel about that? I love that. He said, laugh a lot. I'm just playing. I'm just saying, I love you too, A1. But I'm being nice, right? A1, how did I do? A1, I was nice. I couldn't, usually back in the day, A1, I've grown a lot. Back in the day, I would have talked about your mama, your kids, your dad. I would know you, right? I would have just took it to the next level, right? I'm doing well. I'm doing well, y'all. I'm learning a lot through this whole process. But the people are complacent. How did I feel today? Angry and offended. Offended because it felt like somebody spit in my face today and I couldn't do anything. I felt offended because I felt like I was in my ancestors' shoes and somebody, this is going to be kind of graphic, y'all. Bear with me, YouTube ain't going to fund this video. You already know how YouTube be doing me, y'all. But I felt like somebody was doing something, you know what I'm talking about, inappropriate to me, and my man was made to watch and couldn't do anything to stop it. Man, I felt like my man was being tied to the pole and whooped in front of the whole community, and nobody bet not dare do anything. Oh, it's going to be consequences to play. That's how I felt, y'all. That's how I felt. That brought up anger, and it offended me badly. And the whole time, I'm my own therapist in that room. That whole time, I looked at my man, and his leg was just moving under the table. When you know your partner, you know the things about them. Like, when your partner just want to jump across the table and grab somebody by the goddamn neck. Like, who you talking? Like that was our situation there. That was our situation. I looked around like, is the spirit of my mother in this room? Something is holding me back. But I understand why. Let me give y'all an example. I want y'all to understand this without me saying too much. let me tell y'all a little something about my grandmother. My grandmother, if God shall continue to bless her life, my grandma's going to be 99 years old in July. And my grandmother is a Southern belle. My family is from Savannah, Georgia. My grandmother carries herself like this. She talks with a drawl, you know what I mean? She doesn't like ignorant talk. She lets us know all growing. She can't stand ignorant talk. Or she'll be like, talk lower. You don't have to scream. You sure know how to describe yourself. Don't act like that. Don't let those people see you like that. Who else has a grandma like that tells you don't let those people see you like that? They try to keep you in check because they learned something from their era, what they had to do to survive, to keep themselves from physically being beat. My grandmother was born in 1923 or 24, something like that. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say? She was born during that time. Do the math, 24, 23, whatever, 25, something like that. Y'all can do the math. She'll be 99 years old. My grandmother was 25, right? 25. She was born in an era where you had to watch what you say, because they will teach you a lesson. And even though we don't have to deal with that today, the lesson is still being taught to us. We're still being told, watch what you say, or I'm going to teach you a lesson. Child, mother. That's my grandmother. We got to call her mother, not grandma. Mother done showed up in me. If I am not her grandbaby, I don't know who is. Not only did she deliver me, if I am not her grandbaby, I don't know who is, because the way I got up. You thought I was from Savannah, Georgia, baby, not the Bronx. You would have thought I was from Savannah. The way I got up, hold your head up high, family. Hold your head up high. Put your shoulders back, baby. And the way I said, there is nothing left to say. Thank you for your time. And I got up. And he just wanted to, I went Dr. Shonna Etienne on him. Did I not? I turned around. Excuse me? What did you say? I can't tell you what I said, y'all. But can I tell you, he was stumbling over his words. He backed up. Because they want you to get loud. They want you to get loud. They want you to get nasty. I had to take the rule from my grandmother's book. And there was many times I never saw it from my grandmother's perspective, because, my pride, I said, I ain't doing that. You crazy as hell. I didn't say crazy as hell to her, but that's how I was thinking. I was like, crazy as hell. Do that. This is not 1925, grandma. Mother, no, not. You got the wrong one. You just going to have to whoop me. Oh, no, baby. Today I changed my tune. Because I saw it. I saw what my grandmother sees through her eyes. And I said, wow, that's not cowardly. That's strength. When you don't let them know your move, I saw the way that person cowered. I said, wow, ain't that something? You offended me. And in my head, I said, yeah, I got something for you. And I just had to just hold my shoulders back. And the way we are, I stepped aside, because that's what I do. I stepped aside. My man came and opened up that door. I said, thank you, baby. And we grabbed each other's hands, and I walked out that door, because that's all I had in that moment. That's all I had left in that moment. And I said, I got to go and strategize, because I'm playing with a different beast here. I responded with intellect. I responded with strength. I responded with strategy. And this is what I learned. You got to know your players, y'all. About to get on out of here. You got to know your players. Who are your players when it comes to the law? Because it's usually not who you think it is. Who are your players when it comes to the legal system? Two very different things. Who are your players when it comes to policy? You gotta know your players. Listen. I don't know if this is a sister or a brother, but let me tell you something. I totally understand. I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'm gonna leave you a comment up there because I'm gonna get to that in a second. Because you gotta know your players. You gotta know your to do a certain thing doesn't mean they win, you lose. It doesn't mean they win, they lose. See, when you respond via emotion, they already got you figured out. Because you're only gonna have but so many moves on the chessboard before it's a check or a checkmate. They already know what you want to do. See, the game of chess, beloved, requires you to, sometimes chess games could take days. It requires you to sit back and think and strategize. Right? I love this, Future. I love what Future said. Future said, the ghetto can come out through your execution, not your emotions. You see, you gotta know how to move. Because this system, you and you alone can't beat the system. You can't beat the system, baby. That's too loud. He done fell asleep. Close the door for me, please. You can't, thank you, babe. You can't beat the system. You got to understand it. So you got to know your players. And you got to, when you get your players in order, you have to have key players for the law. You have to have key players for the legal aspect of it. You have to have key players for the policy. Key players. And don't nobody want to deal with anybody who's difficult. Don't nobody want to deal with anybody who allows the person said, your ghetto to come through. Nobody want to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that. You got, see, this is what I learned today. You got to build bridges and connections. Because everybody, okay, put it this way. And then I'm out of here. Put it this way. Remember when y'all playing like your own little street football, your street little basketball, and everybody's standing around. So you got your captains, right? And the captains are picking the players on their team, and everyone's trying to build their dream team, right? So they're looking at everybody, and you gotta really think about who that person is, what their skill set is, how they manage their emotion, how they think, how they move, their agility. You have to look at all of that so you can select who you want on your team. You understand what I'm trying to say? That's what we have to be able to do. We got to sit back. We got to say, we got to be able to answer the question, why you are choosing that player for your team. Why are you choosing that player for your team? You just can't be like, well, he's tall, so I want him. He might be tall, clumsy, and doofy. What he going to do for you? He may not even be able to make a two-pointer. What he going to do for you? Or he big. He may be big, but he ain't fast on his feet. So, I mean, unless you get in his way where he's going to grab you and tackle you, unless you get in his way, if you staying clear of him, he ain't going to do nothing to you. So you wasting your time with a joker who ain't light on his feet. You just wasting your time. What you doing? You pick him because he's big. He may be big and have no reach. He may be big and don't know how to move. Like that, you wasted your time, big for no reason. That's how you have to look at this. Since you said you got to keep a ghetto in your back pocket, that's the only ghetto you need to have in your back pocket. You got to be able to make this thing applicable. Right? So it's called Have Your Nation. Have your nation. Make connections. Sit down at the table and allow people to talk. Because people will let you know where they are at on a chessboard. Right? They will help you navigate the turf better than you know it. You can't be the only person that's smart in the room. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. You need people who know about this at a level you don't know about it. And that's the problem. That's just like representing yourself in court. You're going to be your own attorney. Chances are, I mean, yeah, do some people win? Yeah, but how often is that? Chances are you're going to lose. Because you ain't got your nation. You don't got your dream team. So that's what I learned today, know your players. And even though I experienced that offense today, when I came back, I still had a smile on my face. And I met the right players. I met the right players. And then out of one of those conversations, this one person, this one player, I'm trying not to be too specific, said, you know what? That's why we connected. We the same Greek. I don't even know how we got on the Greek conversation, but what they was like, oh, okay, that's how we connected. We belong to the same Greek. We ran around the table. I don't know those people. I ran around the table. I gave a big, we was like, oh. We was all acting silly because I had to build connections. I had to build bridges. I got to get over my obstacle. I got to get over the trap the system has for me. And how do I do that? There's no better way of doing it than to get players that know the turf. It's just like back in the days, right? Back in the days where we were being colonized. You know, the colonizers. Child, we done been through so much, it ain't even funny. We were being colonized. And what happened when we touched down with some of the natives, and they were like the Native Americans, right? According to the story, right? Let's talk about that story. We touched down with the people that was already living there, regardless of who the natives are. They were already there. And they were already there, and they were able to team up and help us because they knew the turf. They knew how to navigate the land better than anyone else. So when we had to come up against the colonizer, let's say Haiti, for example, whoop their behinds because they were with people who knew the land. Build bridges. Right? Relationships are worth more than money in a lot of cases. Ain't that the truth? What am I, a relationship expert, right? I had to put that into my own practice. I had to say, okay, what am I going to do? Oh, shoot, Allison. I love that, Allison. Allison been rocking with me for years. Thank you, Allison. Beautiful. But listen, I was like, what am I going to do? And I knew that's relationships. You get things done with people who want to be in relationship with you. Some of us are trying to force people to be in relationship with us. Even among our own community. I'm not talking about romantic, intimate relationships. We just think on the basis of our shared experience, we're going to be in a relationship. No, we're not. Right? No, we're not. You got to know who to build relationships with. You got to know. You're absolutely right. This is very taxing on me. So I appreciate that, Dre. This is very taxing on me. But you know what? You know what makes it easier, Dre? Is when you have the right relationships around you. Because we have to have the spook by the door. You understand what I'm saying? We have to have the spook by the door. I know some people say Uncle Tom, but if you really read the story of Uncle Tom, you know Sambo was the problem. Uncle Tom was not. Sambo was the problem. But you know, somebody tells us that Uncle Tom is the enemy. We believe it, right? Sambo was the enemy, not Uncle Tom. But if they tell you it's enough because it sounds catchy, it sounds good, you're going to believe it. You got to know them players, baby. And we all in the system. And we got to get back to our slave songs. Y'all know what the slave songs were, right? We got to get back to that. We got to get back to singing and march when they come into the room where it's a code, where we speaking in code and they don't even know. We got to get back to the humming. And we know that means open the door, get the shit out of there, they coming. We got to get back to that. But you got to know. You got to know who you can do that with and who you cannot. In this kind of situation, y'all, I leave y'all by saying this. In this kind of situation, know your players. Know your players. Understand when somebody knows the land better than you. And there's always time. That's all we have, baby, is time. There's always time. Don't never feel like, well, if I don't do this, they're going to think they can do whatever they want to do to me. If I don't do, no, baby. No, no, babe, you got to move strategically. There's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place for everything. Y'all got to just learn how to play chess. Just sit on that game. Don't move until you're ready. Don't move until you thought it all out. So again, I love y'all. I really do love y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I want to tell y'all, yesterday, whatever y'all did, you have no idea how many media outlets have contacted me. And again, I got to listen to the player that knows the land, the legal land, better than I do. So everything has to get directed in a certain direction. Right? You got to keep your hands clean. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? You gotta let somebody else do the hit, right? That's the street stuff, right? That's y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying anything in reference to what's going on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You gotta keep your hands clean, baby. You gotta keep your hands clean. And even though this is hard, getting my dream team together. And I'm cool. And y'all part of that dream team. And y'all proving that yesterday. Y'all are part of the dream team. What y'all did, I was like, wow, they was like, well, we seen your live video. I said, ooh. They know it. So again, we still working the system. We still working it, but we gotta be like in Rochester. Right? I told you ain't no cameras out here, right? It's very few cameras are in Rochester. I told you they got dead spots. They can just murder somebody and keep it moving, and you be lucky they get you, right? In Rochester, we already know that. We got to know where the dead spots are, right? So because the system is always watching us, so we got to be in the shadow where there's no camera. You understand what I'm trying to say, y'all? We got to move like that. And that's what we're doing. I love you all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow with some updates. Got more updates for tomorrow. Love you all.